I remember I was in the middle of my third world tour. It was December, Gothenburg, Sweden. I had just arrived back at my Airbnb after a full night of coaching. And I walk up to the window and I had that thought of, hey Max, if you just jump, you can finally rest and everything will be over. And that really shocked me because I'm a naturally optimistic, positive person. And I never had a thought like that, not even remotely. And I didn't even understand where that thought came from, but I understood I had something really serious on my hands and I needed to tread carefully now. So let me tell you, burnout is a real thing, especially if you're in the earlier stages of starting or growing a business. You're constantly under stress. You feel pressure from all sides. You want to prove your doubters wrong. You want to prove yourself wrong. You want it to work finally. But you also feel that you need a rest. And whenever you do rest, you feel guilty. All that's gonna be fixed today in this video. Because I have since went on to create 2 multiple 7-figure-a-year businesses. I've been on more world tours. I've done a podcast with multiple guests, I think over 300 episodes, non-stop content. I work harder than ever before and I'm fine. I love it. I could work even more, to be honest. Most importantly though, I've acquired skills that help me identify, deal with, and prevent burnout from ever happening again. And if it shall ever happen in the future, I know how to recover from it within days and not months. And that skill set is what you're gonna get in this video here today. On top of that, I will share with you the most powerful exercise you can do today to help you bring awareness into your burnout, get some rest, and stop feeling guilty about it right at the end of this video. So let's dive in. This channel is meant for hard workers. This channel is for you, as you know, if you want more out of life, you want to start making more money, you want to have better relationships, better everything. If you're someone that slacks off, that has a hard time getting to work in the first place, this video is not for you. This video assumes that you already have a very strong work ethic and you need to rest more. So the first thing you need to do is you need to understand where your particular burnout comes from. Not where it comes from in general, but why you have it yourself. Because most likely you've cultivated epic work ethic already. Congratulations. It brings you ahead of the average person. You're probably better than 99% of people out there if you've cultivated a killer work ethic. And number 2, you've most likely built an identity out of your ability to work hard. And this happened to me, and this usually happens to everybody that suffers from burnout. You're proud of yourself that you have the ability to work extremely hard because probably it's propelled you in your career, your business is probably making more money than your friends and family, you probably have, a better physique, better anything. You're crushing it in one or several areas in life, much more so than the average person. That comes with a certain sense of pride. But the problem is that little ego gratification gives you an identity of working hard, and you've neglected that identity of chilling, of relaxing, which is just as important, it's just as vital a part of you as the ability, the identity to work hard. So, how do we fix that? Very simple. You need to start with introspection. You need to ask yourself, is your current identity of self tied to being the hard worker? Most likely the answer to that will be yes. Now here's the crazy thing though. That doesn't mean that you can't change your self-identity. You just have to cultivate that chill, time off identity that is part of you just as much. It's almost like you have 2 sides of your character, 2 sides of a coin. It's the same coin. One side of that coin is beautifully carved out and it already has that identity of you working hard. That coin, that side of the coin is perfectly designed, perfectly carved out. It's clearly your identity. And then you turn the other side of that coin and it's just like very rudimentary patterns. You can barely see what it means because you haven't really cultivated that side of the coin, which is your chill side. There's another great metaphor. There's 2 wolves fighting within you right now. One wolf that just wants to get shit done, go crush it in life, and have a very strong work ethic. And the other wolf, which is equally as important as the, hey, I want to relax and I want to enjoy life a little bit. And all you've been doing is you've been feeding that work ethic wolf. So that wolf is extremely strong and that's great. Again, nothing wrong with that, but you've kind of neglected that other wolf. So you need to understand via introspection, how much have you neglected that chill part of you? All right. Now, once you've done that introspection, here's the next step you need to do. You need to feed that chill wolf via, number one, understanding that recovery is not the opposite of productivity. It's actually part of productivity. So to stick with that metaphor of the two wolves, the chill wolf is not the enemy of the work hard wolf. In fact, the stronger that chill wolf becomes, the stronger that working hard wolf also becomes. These two wolves are a pair. They work in unison together, so you're gonna have to feed them both. And if you really think about it, it's pretty logical. I used to think, well, any moment where I'm watching The Simpsons, or I'm at dinner with my girlfriend, or I'm holding my nephew in my arms, is kind of like a moment where I'm not making money. It's like a wasted moment. Every moment where I'm sleeping in a little longer because I'm just so freaking exhausted is a moment where I'm wasting time. Actually not. It's part of the game. It's part of hustling because I need to recover. Just like you need to recover from a workout via getting enough sleep, having a proper diet, etc. If you would just be at the gym, imagine you'd be at the gym 12 hours a day, you just do the same stupid arm curl exercise 7 days a week, like your muscle would literally be so damaged, it wouldn't grow, you wouldn't get stronger. No, you can only train your biceps so many times a week, and you need to sleep enough in the meanwhile, you need to eat well, you need to let it rest. Maybe you even need to get massages and so on and so forth. So you need to realize that this is actually part of productivity. Now, a lot of times I get the question of like, okay, I get it, I know it's part of the productivity, but I just can't get myself to chill. Like I always have things on my plate, and my schedule on my Google Calendar or my Trello to-do list just doesn't allow for that. Well, here's the trick on how to do that. You plan your off time just like you plan any other productive thing in your life. So if you have a to-do list or a Google Calendar, which by the way, I recommend you have that, it could look like this, like wake up, morning routine, deep work session number 1, needle mover number 2, and so on and so forth. And then it literally needs to say 60 minutes off time, 30 minutes watching one Simpsons episode, 20 minutes meditation, dinner with girlfriend, lunch with friends. You need to put that into the plan as if it's the most important needle mover in your business. You need to schedule that. Because now you're tricking your hard-working brain into kind of thinking, oh, I need to do that. It's part of the plan. It's part of my productivity. Because otherwise, your hard-working paranoid brain is just going to say, well, you're doing this right now, but your to-do list isn't getting smaller from that. But if it's part of the to-do list, now you can trick your brain into quote-unquote thinking it's part of productivity, which it actually is anyways. But Max, hold on a second. When I'm spending time with my girlfriend and with family or by myself playing video games, it's so hard for me to actually be in the moment. I continuously think about work. I think about my business. I think about all the things I need to do. I can't even fucking enjoy the time off anyways. So I might as well just freaking work and not even try. Well, here's how to fix that. When you're taking time off, take it fully off. Just like you would not allow any distractions during your deep work sessions, during your needle movers, during your sales calls whatsoever, right? Again, you probably have cultivated crazy epic focus and work ethic, which means you're opening your laptop, you're turning off all the notifications, and you're really working on this one task purely. Just like you do that, you need to treat your off time, meaning notifications off, meaning phone on flight mode if necessary, no freaking laptop open. If you have a thought that is important for you to capture, write it the fuck down. You are allowed to use a notepad, either a physical notepad or your phone. You can write it down so it's out of your head. This is especially important, by the way, when you're going to sleep and you're having trouble falling asleep because all these thoughts keep popping up like, oh, I still need to do this, I still need to do that. Spend 10, 20, 30 minutes before you go to bed just writing down all your thoughts, just so it's on paper. The moment it's on paper or on a digital notepad, it can't be in your head because it's already there and you don't have to worry about that. All right? So you cannot allow yourself to have kind of like secret work sessions, right? When your Saturday is supposed to be an off day, don't wake up earlier just to get in just a little bit of work, just real quick, just an hour. You're fucking addicted to work to make you feel good, to make you feel safe and secure. But in reality, it's not going to make you safe and secure. It's actually not allowing your central nervous system to fucking relax and recover, which we already established is part of your productivity. So now you're working a little bit on Saturday and a little bit on Sunday instead of taking the time off. So now you're not allowing yourself to recover fully, which means you're dragging a lot of emotional baggage, a lot of tension into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the next weekend you do the same, and so on and so forth. So you never really recover. Your dopamine keeps getting fucked up. You can't really relax. You never flush out all the cortisol. And now all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're burnt out. So when you're taking time off, take it off fully with all intent, with all the focus. And I guarantee you, you will enjoy that video game. You will enjoy the stupid fucking lunch. You will enjoy a conversation with your girlfriend. It will suck at first because your brain is all haywire. And this is another key point. Your brain is all like, where's the next problem to fix? Where's the next task I need to do? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Because that's all your brain has been knowing. And you need to calm it down and be like, hey. I know all we do is fixing problems all the time. I know that's what I've trained you on, but not right now. And after 10, 20, 30 minutes of freaking out, your brain is like, okay, I can calm down. I'm in a safe spot now. There's a great metaphor for that. If you ever played video games like Resident Evil, or any sort of horror game where you're just walking around in like every dark corner, every door, you're just on the edge in case a zombie pops up and you need to shoot it real quick. But then there's these little safe zones, these like little safe rooms where you go in and you're like, okay, that's a safe room here, I can save, and here I am safe. I don't need to worry about the zombies here because the rules of the game are there can't be any zombies in the safe room. That's kind of the safe room that you need to create for yourself. All right. That brings me actually to the next point, coincidentally. This is an easy, quick hack that you can do right away to make it easier for you to transition from working hard to relaxing. And that is create physical space between your work and your non-work environments. Which means nowadays you can work from anywhere, right? And people like me, we're kind of like glorifying the fact that like, oh, I'm running my multi-seven-figure business just from my phone. I could just work from anywhere I want, which is great. But it's also kind of like bad because now all of a sudden you can bring your laptop into bed, which is where you should rest, but now you're working there. Or maybe you're chilling on the couch on your phone working instead of relaxing. So the problem with that physical space is, again, your central nervous system keeps being on the edge. And again, you always have that excuse of like, well, I already have my phone with me, even though I'm supposed to relax and watch the movie now. Well, let me just reply real quick. Create physical space between your work and your non-work environments though. And all of a sudden you are allowing yourself to relax. So what I do is I work at a tiny claustrophobic office, which is this. So I have my laptop here, I got my phone here, and the moment I walk out that door, I'm in relax mode. There's something different. The moment I walk back in here, I'm fired up, I'm locked in, I'm almost conditioned to the fact that this room here is for productivity and anything outside of this room is for personal connections with other people, is for chilling, for having a good time, for playing guitar, etc. That physical space helps a lot. Now, some people, some of my clients, they even have separate phones. They have one phone with, WhatsApp friends and family with their stupid memes and their Formula One WhatsApp groups. And they have a separate phone that's identical, but that's the work phone. That's where they have their staff, that's where they have their clients, and so on and so forth. I personally don't have that. I don't mind that. I don't want to have two phones on me at all times. What I do have, though, is I have all notifications turned off. I don't know, there's probably like 10, 15 WhatsApp messages that have come in ever since I started making this video, but I don't get any notifications whatsoever. The cool thing is, this is a little bit of a mini trick, but Max, what about if something is important and I'm missing that? You can actually set up notifications on your iPhone that allow certain people to call you even if your phone is on silent mode, even if your notifications are turned off. So for me personally, the people that can always call me if there's something urgent are my girlfriend, my mother, my father, my CMO, and my CSO. Because I know, and these people have been instructed, if shit hits the fan, if there is an emergency, they can always call me and it will go through, right? By the way, funny side note, I haven't had a business emergency in like 5 years, which is ridiculous. Like my brain is still like, in case there's anything, like call me. I don't even know of any scenario where I need to be contacted immediately to fix a problem because I have such a great setup with my team leaders, etc. So this is like emergency situations don't even apply to me. Like they're not I'm not responsible for anything, which is great, by the way. Like, I'd recommend you get to that kind of level anyways. Create physical space, all that helps. Now, by the way, a next big point, this is very, very key. This is crucial for you in order to see the early signs of burnout. Watch for physiological signs, very key. Burnout usually happens first in your mind. You're gonna get a little fatigued. Your mind is gonna say, hey, let's go rest. Hey, let's not work super hard. But if you have an extremely high work ethic and focus, you will just blaze over that. You won't even recognize it, right? Because your mind is like, hey, let's get some rest. And you're like, fuck you. It's Wednesday. Let's keep fucking pushing. The second stage after the mind is going to be your body. Your body is going to start giving you signs. Now, that second stage is the second to last stage before shit gets really, really serious. And the last stage is proper burnout, right? So you got to be very careful with physiological signs. If you need more sleep in the morning for zero reasons whatsoever, that's a sign you're about to get burnt out. If you get sick, that's about the closest sign you're going to be burnt. You're just at the verge of getting burnt out. A lot of times people get sick, their immune system kind of starts shutting down because they're overworked, they're overstressed, and they're more susceptible to, getting sick, getting the flu, getting viruses, and so on and so forth. So watch out for these signs. Also, if you're more prone to indulge in vices, nicotine, drugs, alcohol, caffeine, sugar. If you're craving more shit food, if you're a stress eater like me, that's usually a sign, all right, take it easy. You don't want to get burnt out. This is very, 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 very key. Now, I have two more key points, and I'm going to go very deep with you on these, so please pay attention because they're absolutely life-changing. Number one, burnout often stems from a feeling of not being good enough. You think you need to achieve something, you think you need some sort of external validation in order to feel good enough. Therefore, you cultivate extremely hardcore work ethic, you work very hard, you build an identity about working hard, and all of a sudden you start feeling worthy. The problem with that is, once you're relaxing, you might be feeling like you're not worthy at that moment because you're only worthy when you're achieving things, when you're working hard, when people say, wow, you're such a great hard worker, I respect that so much. So now you're sitting there with a big fat bowl of Ben and Jerry's watching some really brain rot bullshit Netflix, and you're like, I kind of need this right now. But you're also feeling extremely bad about that because you're like, I'm slacking off, who am I? I'm not worthy anymore. Here's how to fix that in the short term. We've talked about how to fixing it in the long term, right? You have to have that introspection. You got to feed that positive chill wolf. But in the short term, here's how to fix that. Have a surrogate permission giver. Because most likely you cannot give yourself permission to relax yet because it freaks you out and you feel like you're unworthy. But if you denote a person in your personal circle, in your life, that is a permission giver that gives you permission to relax, that will help you circumvent that issue until you can give yourself permission. This is usually someone that you respect a lot, someone that is a high achiever themselves. Could be a parent of yours, if your parents are, someone that you have that have a lot of authority within your life. Could be a business partner, could be a mentor. For me, I have 2-3 permission givers in my life. One of them is a business partner of mine. I respect them hugely because they're extremely hard worker as well. And we kind of are each other's permission givers, and I have multiple mentors. Now, what I usually do in order to get that permission, I just tell them more or less indirectly, like, hey man, feeling pretty bummed out recently. Like, I'm feeling like I'm working pretty hard. It's kind of hard for me to focus. And then usually these people are like, yo dude, I mean, look, we've been crushing it lately, go chill. And all of a sudden I get that permission from that person that I really respect. And I'm like, oh, well, even they even told me I should chill. Okay, so now I don't have to feel unworthy as I chill because the person I respect so much has literally, quote unquote, allowed it to me. Now, over time, you want to be that permission giver yourself. Again, you have to train that wolf up that gives you that permission. And over time, you'll be able to become that person. But until that happens, have that surrogate permission giver. Which brings me to the promised exercise that I told you in the beginning of this video. It's a simple exercise you do right now that helps you relax, put a little bit of awareness onto your burnout, and really help you right there and then in the moment. It's an actual exercise I got from an actual psychotherapist that I've talked to deeply about burnout back then when I had it. Here it is. It's called the 10-year-old child exercise. what I want you to do is I want you to look at yourself as if that current hardworking self is your 10-year-old son or your 10-year-old daughter. And you're speaking to them and you're like, hey, how's it going? And they're telling you about how hard they've been working, how they've been ignoring their own warning signs, how they've been plowing through their own resistance, how they're cutting sleep, how they're, cutting out any fun time, any sort of relationship time, and they're just grind. Imagine that's your 10-year-old child. What would you tell them? Would you tell your 10-year-old son, that's right, motherfucker, you're unworthy. Keep working until you achieve that. I hope that's not your actual opinion. What you're most likely going to say is you probably put your 10-year-old son or daughter in your arms. You probably say, hey, relax. I love you. You're my child. You don't have to work hard if you don't feel like it, okay? I respect the fact that you have goals. It's so amazing that you have hard work ethic, but you need to relax right now. Here's some ice cream. Here's some Indiana Jones PS5. Go enjoy yourself, child, okay? You don't have to worry about anything. You're in a loving household. I love you no matter what. You're a great person no matter what. You're worthy of anything. You're worthy of the goals that you want to achieve just as much as you're worthy of a day or a week or a weekend of relaxation. I love you. Don't kill yourself over this. You got this. And just as you would tell that to your daughter or your son, that is how you need to speak to yourself. So whenever you're feeling guilty about relaxing, put yourself into that role play with yourself and imagine your 10-year-old son or daughter would be guilty about relaxing and treat yourself as such. And as always, last but not least, you've heard me talk about this in a previous video, be grateful for the hard times. If you're watching this right now, you're feeling close to burnout or you're currently in a burnout, as twisted as it sounds, be grateful for that. Because I guarantee you, you'll come back stronger, you'll get out of this a better human being. Just like I got out of this a better human being. And look at this, now I can share with you my opinion. Maybe you'll be able to inspire other people as well. Maybe you already are, and that's great. I love you very much. Keep grinding. You got this. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Cheers. Talk soon.